Hello everyone, it's your host, SethTheProgrammer, and today we're going to be doing another discussion about Dragon Ball Super Episode 66. This will be concerning future Trunks' hidden power and whether or not he surpassed Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. I also felt slightly obligated to explain in further detail Trunks' hidden power and how strong it is, as many critics seem to have completely missed its purpose and what it was in general, etc. So anyways, to get right into it, let me explain some things about Vegito versus Zamasu that you should absolutely know. Okay, for one, Vegito was stronger than Zamasu fusion, clearly, and in fact, Zamasu during the entire fight with Vegito is actually gradually degrading and taking damage over the fight and weakening, etc. This is further shown by when Goku cream pies him and obliterates half his body, and the Supreme Kai and Gowasu are both he's not regenerating, but he is degrading. So that means that half of his body can residually take damage and get weaker, while the other half just remains intact per se. So I mean, he is taking damage over time because he isn't perfectly immortal or invincible. And just how Zamasu's immortality was also nerfed, so was Black's adaptation and Saiyan battle increase abilities. In fact, Vegito might have even had more potential than Fused Zamasu in terms of increasing his power mid-combat, as despite Zamasu powering up, Vegito would also gradually power up and remain superior to him. This is shown by when Zamasu in the beginning of their fight, they're clashing hands, they're even, and then, Zamasu gets the upper hand and is able to body Vegito, even slam him on the ground. And then all of a sudden, Vegito is just fucking bullying him later in the fight, despite them being equal during the beginning of it. You could argue that Zamasu got slower as he got stronger, kind of Perfect Cell versus Gohan kind of scenario. But by the looks of it, Vegito really did seem like he was getting stronger than Zamasu was, and Zamasu was definitely taking damage gradually as the fight went on. So Vegito slams him with the final Kamehameha, then Vegito comes in to finish Zamasu off with his full power, hitting him literally so hard that his face starts turning into this purple smoke, although this attack defused Vegito. Now this is really interesting because none of Vegito's other attacks, even the final Kamehameha, was able to hurt Zamasu so bad that his body started turning into smoke. I think that's also a really great implication that Zamasu was kind of on his last leg. Vegito is okay, this final Kamehameha is gonna wipe him the fuck out, and then he's okay, maybe it didn't, but this will. And so he sensed that Zamasu was starting to get weaker and starting to get more frail. He was starting to overcome him, he was starting to speed blitz him, and then he went for the final punch, and he said this is the end. He was about to land a combo on him or some kind of new move, and literally just that punch that didn't even fully direct was capable of literally disintegrating Zamasu's face beyond the point of just his normal invincibility, tanking the final Kamehameha. So this is actually proof that yes, he was degrading and getting weaker as the fight went on, or you can argue that Vegito was getting stronger as they went on, or he was suppressing himself, etc. So anyway, Vegito defuses, and then Goku and Vegeta take a hit from Merged Zamasu in their base forms just afterwards and survive a hit from Merged Zamasu, the same Zamasu that could hurt Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, although with extreme damage. Now this kind of goes on to the whole he's getting weaker argument, but that's a side note. Now, remember what I said, Zamasu is not fully recovering from every attack. He's actually taking damage gradually, as the Supreme Kai stated, so he would simply regenerate more so his aesthetic appearance rather than his full power. A good example of what I'm talking about by aesthetic appearance rather than your full power is, say, take Piccolo or Nail. When they have an arm ripped off and they regenerate it, they lose some of their power, but they get to retain their aesthetic appearance. Or Perfect Cell, when he had the top of his body obliterated by the Warp Kamehameha during the Cell games, and he recovered himself, he was extremely fatigued and tired from recovering half his body. Now, I've seen a lot of people try to debunk this with Super Perfect Cell, but the thing with Super Perfect Cell is that he's somewhat of an outlier. I'm gonna be honest with you, because not only did Cell numerous times state that he gets weaker when he regenerates, when Goku fucking obliterated half his body and he was extremely fatigued from regenerating, but he regenerated his entire body. He was literally one nucleus. He was literally one cell big and regenerated his entire body. Now, you could actually argue that Super Perfect Cell wasn't even at full power, maybe. Maybe that wasn't actually his full power, but maybe the Zenkai just made him stronger than what he normally was, but he was still weaker than he would have been if Goku, say, tossed him a Sensu Bean after he recovered again or something. But still, Super Perfect Cell is somewhat of an outlier because we've seen Cell get tired from regenerating before. We've seen Namekians get tired from getting regenerated before. And that's where Cell gets his abilities from, is a Namekian. Although his ability to regenerate definitely outclasses a Namekian, it's still an outlier when he's super perfect. So then Trunks comes in and challenges a damaged merged Zamasu. This Trunks, I like to call him Gold Sword Trunks. You can call him whatever the fuck you want, doesn't matter. He has a new ability where he can manipulate his ki into a sword, making a further extension of himself. It's supposed to be symbolic. But how does this give Trunks the power to fight Zamasu? Like, it didn't really make any sense, but I'm going to go into detail about that. Well, not only was Zamasu getting weaker and obviously, straining to retain his aesthetic appearance, and he was also having, like a mental crisis with himself, and I'll get more into that in a second, but Trunks clearly got some amps from all his Zenkais prior to this fight and etc., but he also got a massive ki amp. To better explain what a ki amp is, we should first explain what ki is. Ki in Dragon Ball is composed of 3 factors. In the words of Toriyama, ki consists of 3 components in Dragon Ball: Genki, Yuki, and Shoki, which translates to energy, courage, and mind. Just before Trunks went to fight Zamasu, he saw the faces of all those he was trying to protect. He realized what he was doing, but he also realized his weakness as well. That we'll get into in a minute. So with massive amps to his courage, mind, and possibly energy, he got massively more powerful, enough to even block a fatigued merged Zamasu's attack. Although Zamasu was still stronger. And I'd also like to bring up something else with this ki amp argument, is that mind is one of the necessities to retaining your ki control. So if Zamasu is having like a mental crisis with himself because Goku Black wants to not be immortal, he wants to keep getting stronger, he's kind of like a psycho for battle, while Zamasu wants to be an immortal god, and he's having like this split mentality, this split personality disorder. His mind isn't in one place. His like I said, I brought this up with the Dragon Ball Super producer, but he said Merged Zamasu's weakness is that he used to be one person. So the fact that he's one person merged into one is that those 2 sides of his, it's like this 2 sides of a coin almost, but they have 2 different personalities. So he's not able to retain a singular mindset. So it's hard for him to retain proper ki control. I thought that was pretty interesting to bring up. So Zamasu is still stronger than Trunks. And I'd say the difference between Zamasu and Trunks right here was similar to how Trunks and Black were. When Trunks jumped in front of Goku Black when he tried to stab Goku in one of their first battles. So it's similar to how Trunks was when he first blocked Super Saiyan Rose Black's Keyblade in the first time Trunks started really manning up and getting in the God Leagues, etc. So this is where Trunks' weakness comes in. Trunks' weakness is that he can't almost do anything on his own without help. Right? He's immortal. He can't do anything on his own. Zamasu even laughs at Trunks, asking where he's going to go to get help from next, where he's going to run to next. But Trunks acknowledges his weakness as a mortal. He knows he isn't alone. He calls upon the support of all those with him, all those supporting him, to help him once again, as he can't do it alone. And in doing such, in calling upon their support and power, creates a Denki Dama with their ki, or a Spirit Bomb with their ki. Now, the reason he created a Spirit Bomb, for one, we don't even know how you make really a Spirit Bomb. All we know is that you have to call upon the powers of nature. I mean, Goku literally just by chanting to himself, "Oh, trees, give me your power," right? The trees will give him his energy, or stars. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense that if Trunks is having this epiphany of who he is and that he needs to call upon the powers of others per se, that he really could possibly actually make a Spirit Bomb by doing this. Because, I mean, we've never had a full description of how to call upon a Spirit Bomb. We've just seen Goku do it. It's never really been explained. So, I mean, it's not really far off to say Trunks could do it. I mean, it is kind of bullshit to kind of just pull it out of his ass like that, but it is very symbolic, and I will say it's actually kind of good writing if you look at it like that. Not only did he call upon this weird Spirit Bomb, but Goku and Vegeta also blatantly give Trunks their ki and energy as well. With this, Trunks overpowers Zamasu with moderate difficulty and splits him in half and easily kills him, easily surpassing Zamasu and possibly rivaling Vegito. I guess Vegito is still debatable though. There's no proof he couldn't kill Zamasu on his own anyway. So I've seen people use the Trunks fodderizing Zamasu with this Genki Dama's Bankai Spirit Sword shit to downplay Zamasu and Vegito, saying things like, wow, he absorbed power from like 30 people and murdered Zamasu's fusion. Zamasu must be weak, and since Zamasu gave Vegito a challenge, so must Vegito be weak. But here's the thing you need to understand. Trunks is not Goku and Vegeta. He never has been. He's never been like them ever. He has a completely different mindset. His potential in Dragon Ball Super has honestly always been consistently far more massive than Goku and Vegeta's. It's like you guys forgot Trunks went from getting shit stomped by base Black to blocking an attack from an amped Super Saiyan Rose Black while only a Super Saiyan 2. That's right, even without God powers, he was competing with actual God tier characters. So it's only natural with his massive potential he's shown consistently, constant Zenkais, new godlike abilities, and a key amp from his courage and mind that he would massively be more powerful. It's honestly unquantifiable to say how much more powerful Trunks actually got or gets, so it's actually impossible to say how it correlates to Zamasu or Vegito. So people saying that this makes Zamasu or Vegito weak is actually a fallacy because we don't know how strong Trunks actually got from this potential Genki Dama amp. It's unquantifiable, so you can't really correlate this to Vegito, etc. We also have never seen someone actually absorb a spirit bomb as opposed to just throwing it. In fact, absorbing ki has always had exponential effects in Dragon Ball. Take Piccolo absorbing ki from, like, say, Krillin or Gohan, giving him enough power to damage and take hits from Final Form Frieza in the Namek arc. Or when Goku didn't even complete the God Ritual, he just absorbed energy from 5 Super Saiyans, didn't even get any God powers, but absorbed so much power he was stated to surpass any fighter in history. Or you can even take Toei's other works where they pull shit like this out of their ass, like the Super Android 13 movie where absorbing a spirit bomb literally made Goku so fucking powerful that Android 13 was getting disintegrated just by being in his mere presence. Then remember the fact that this power is only for some trees and wildlife. I don't even think anybody actually gave them his power in that movie. It was just from the earth. So imagine it being from actual people, and then from Saiyan beyond God, Goku and Vegeta, two characters that massively surpassed the universe-busting Super Saiyan God from the Beerus arc. And yes, Goku fully absorbed and surpassed Super Saiyan God in his base form in the fight with Beerus. So don't even get me started on how much stronger he's gotten, actually they've gotten since then. So not only did they surpass Super Saiyan God in their base forms, but you have two Super Saiyan God plus level characters that can destroy universes, giving their power to future Trunks, which could exponentially amplify his energy, as seen, the false God ritual or Piccolo or any other movie or cinematic in Toei history where someone gives another fighter their energy. Now, I've seen some pretty salty fucks after this episode was aired, saying shit like Vegito and Zamasu are hardly twice as strong as Goku, simply because Goku could overpower Zamasu on his own and with just Kaioken. Well, let me just bring some things up to you. Clearly, that scene was just flat out plot regardless, but don't worry, I'll debunk it for you anyway. So Zamasu was suppressed versus Goku, very clearly, in fact. Not only that, but he was also having a mental crisis with himself. But why? Well, Goku overpowered Fusion Zamasu even before using the Kaioken. Actually, he was straining himself so hard in that beam struggle with Zamasu, he actually broke his arms, which is why he was like fucking kicking Zamasu around instead of punching him. But Goku Black on his own was stated by the Dragon Ball Super producer and even shown to be stronger than Goku just on his own. Goku Black and his Super Saiyan Rose rivals Goku and Vegeta. Like, he could take either of them on possibly by himself. I mean, Vegeta might be able to take him on, but with that new Scythe ability, the clone hacks, his abilities just seem to surpass Goku and Vegeta, and this was stated by the Dragon Ball Super producer, remind you. So Gowasu even exaggerates the fact that Zamasu Merged isn't just Goku Black plus Zamasu, but their powers merged together and exponentially multiplied to seemingly no end. Meaning if Goku Black alone is rivaling Goku, that Goku overpowering Fusion Zamasu means Fusion Zamasu was obviously suppressed. There's no other way to argue about it. He felt that utilizing his full power was beneath him, or maybe he couldn't utilize his full powers effectively due to his mentality. Hell, Goku even notes this exact same fact. That's it. It somehow doesn't mean Vegito is weak or his multiplier was nerfed or whatever. And whoever tells you honestly is just salty they couldn't properly analyze the episode. And trust me, that's a lot of people. So in conclusion, guys, there's just no evidence that Trunks has surpassed Vegito, and there's also a lot of evidence that Vegito is actually just about to finish Zamasu off before he defused, like literally hitting him so hard that his immortality started turning into smoke. So yeah, it does look like Vegito was going to finish Zamasu off regardless. So yeah, there's no proof that either side beats the other at this point. It's obviously just a lot of, fan theories, but honestly, it's up to you guys what you think. Maybe in the next Dragon Ball Super episode, we'll get like a quote like, wow, he even stronger than Vegito was, or something, but until that happens, we can only speculate, and there's no proof that Trunks is stronger or weaker, and there's no proof that Vegito is weak because Trunks is unquantifiably stronger than he was normally. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something, and just stop hating on Dragon Ball Super 66. It was fucking badass and symbolic as hell. Till next time.